Hey folks, Saber4 here, back today with the Legends of the Force rare card rankings. We've done a video that talks about the legendary cards, and in this one we are going to go back through and talk about the rares. What's in this video? We'll talk just briefly about what rare cards are in Star Wars Unlimited, and then we'll do rankings, starting with an honorable mention, and then a top 10. There's only 46 besides the bases, and so we're not going to go, I'm going to give you 20% or so of them. But this is what I think are the top 10 of the rare cards. Before we get going, if you have not, please subscribe to the channel. The channel is mostly Star Wars content, Star Wars Unlimited content, and occasional videos of my dogs. I do not apologize for their presence. But we'll do deck videos, we'll do kind of how-tos, we'll do some build videos, we'll talk about cards, we'll talk about meta, we'll talk about a lot of things Star Wars Unlimited. So if that's what you're here for, welcome. All right, rare cards in Star Wars Unlimited. These are some of the play staples in most decks. Your rare cards are often the ones that are tying together your theme. Your legendaries are bringing a lot of power. They're bringing a lot of complexity. The rare cards are slightly less mechanically complex. They take up about 80% of the rare slots in packs. That is up a little bit from, or that is down a little bit from taking where they were when it was 1 in 8 that were legendaries. Now there's 1 in 5. I do have one gripe with the rares, that is that the rares occasionally are rare bases. I would love to see the rare bases moved into the base spot, mostly because this game also has a sealed space. And so if you're talking about a game that plays sealed and you come across your packs and your sealed packs that are part of your build pool have a bunch of rare bases, you can really wind up getting hosed in that. And I have done that. I have sat down at a pre-release and got 3 out of 6 rare bases. And you can only use one, and the rest, it just kind of sucks. So that's my one gripe with rares. We'll go ahead and move past it. All right, honorable mentions. Carrie? No, ma'am. People are allowed to walk. Come here. Speaking of the dogs, honorable mentions. For Vigilance, I have the Tragedy of Plagueis. The reason that this is an honorable mention here is that I really don't like my opponents getting to choose what gets defeated. This also does not have any kind of method for me taking control of the card, and so there are ways around just the defeat a unit. Several cards have that kind of text to them. It does not restrict to leaders, which is nice, but it also does a very thematic thing, which it says that one of my units can't be defeated by having no remaining HP. Super thematic for the Anakin decks, if that's what you choose to play, especially as it ignores any kind of aspect restrictions. So really nice for that. Gets honorable mention there. Malakili gets honorable mention in command. First creature you play each phase costs 1 less, and friendly creature units. If friendly creature units would deal damage to your units, you get to prevent that damage. So this is super thematic for how Malakili, a guy who loves his Rancor, works, and is very well put together for a set that had a lot heavier creature presence than we have seen in previous sets. Aggression honorable mention is the heavy blaster cannon. 4 is a lot to pay for a blaster. But it does something kind of unique where it says that you deal a damage, then deal a damage, then deal a damage. So this allows you to do 3 damage if the unit is unshielded, or to pop through up to 3 shields. Durable as a +2, not wonderful, but it does give some health to it, which is not common among other blasters. So this is a nice little upgrade. Honorable mention. And then Cunning, the Deceptive Shade. This is Sith, but not Force. And so you're not going to gain your Force token off of this, but gaining Ambush for something is quite useful. It has the Sith trait, which is impactful. It can facilitate a lot of things that use Sith. And so that's an impactful trait to have, but honorable mention for the Deceptive Shade. And Other honorable mentions are major leader boosts. The Grand Inquisitor, the Spark of Rebellion Grand Inquisitor, has a huge boost here with Paz Vizsla. This is at 5 cost. If you're running, the reason why this is honorable mention, if you're running double red, which you've got plenty of reason not to at this point, Paz Vizsla allows you to basically double up your grit. And so if you pop this guy down and Grand Inquisitor readies him, he's going to swing for 7, which is really, really good for most of what he's doing. He's a little bit less aligned with some of the other things that are there. He's also very well aligned with some of the things that you could do with Bo-Katan. And so there's a couple of different leaders that can very well benefit from Paz Vizsla, and that's where we are with him. The Spark of Rebellion Thrawn, when we lost Triple Dark Raid, we lost a big boost to some of these decks that have a mechanically difficult time. Kind of, they churn a lot of actions, but they also churn a lot of resources. As I have foreseen, allows me, especially if I am using a force base and some other force units, which you can have some in there that are going to exhaust units very well. You can create a force token. You have access to a little bit worse, but a version of your Triple Dark Raid. So it's a pay 1, discount 4. So you get a full discount of 3 on something from your hand. It does not do a search, but it does help a lot because Thrawn uniquely knows what is on top of his deck all the time. Especially uniquely for villain. You could look at this card with R2, but R2 is heroism. And then finally, Gar Saxon, Axe Wolves. This is a unique, so this is Axe Wolves. Woves. There's no L in there. Axe Woves allows you to come out with a shielded unit, which is big in Gar Saxon. But for each upgrade that is on him, he is +1/+1. And so Gar Saxon doesn't have to run a ton of upgrades, but he does run a few. And dropping something on him that gives him an additional +1/+1. In a Gar Saxon deck, this comes out as a 4/3 shielded. And that's not bad at all. It's a little under our 3/5 mark that we have for a lot of 3 cost. But if you slap an upgrade along with him, he's going to gain not only whatever the upgrade gives him, but he's going to gain an additional +1/+1. So Axe Woves, very nice addition to Gar Saxon. All right, on to the top 10. At number 10, I have the TS Shuttle, or T6 Shuttle 1974. The reason this is here is that this unit grows as it's attacked. And so you have to throw a 5 into it in order to be able to take this thing out. If you're taking it out in one go, which means there's not a whole lot out there that just cleanly defeats this right out of the gate. Nice body for 3. This is the same body on it as far as a space unit goes that we get with the Millennium Falcon. It doesn't have the advantage of coming in ready, but it also doesn't have the tax. But when somebody attacks into it, this thing grows. And so, like I said, they're going to have to put a little bit more into this than some of the other things to be able to take it out. It's a good addition for Blue Heroism. It's a nice little space piece. Works well. Just a nice little unit. Number 9, I have Craving Power. The reason this is at number 9 is that it does not give a restriction between vehicle or character unit, and it allows me to do something impactful right now. I love cards that have a immediate impact, especially when we're talking 5 or greater. At 5, I slap this down on a unit. I give it a little mini barrage. I don't get to pick more than one target, but I get to deal damage equal to the attached unit's power to an enemy unit. and then have a durable upgrade that gives me +2/+2. Uh, Very high utility in this. Will it see a ton of play? I don't know, but there is quite a lot of utility in there. Number 8, Liberated by Darkness. I will say this, and I'll also kind of backtrack to where we said with Craving Power. A lot of these cards, some of the reason that they're in here is that eventually they are the replacements for some cards that already have high utility in what we play currently. Liberated by Darkness, very, very good card. We have seen a lot of play for Change of Heart since Spark of Rebellion was released. And here we have Liberated by Darkness, allowing me for one less resource and use of a force token to take control of a non-leader unit. And then at the start of the regroup phase, the owner retakes control of it. This is great for something like Spark of Rebellion Palpatine, who is going to take control of that unit, do something with it, then sacrifice it. This is great for any of these that want to take that unit and crash it into one of your opponent's units, so that they trade one of their own units for their own unit. That is a little slow on actions because you're going to have to do it with the next thing that you do. But Liberated by Darkness is a good copy of another card that has had high utility since set 1, number 8. Number 7. I put Farm Boy Luke Skywalker here. And, I've been back and forth on this one. 3/5 for 3, great. 3/5 for 4, problem. But 3/5 for 4 that grows and gives a shield token along with an experience token to itself every time that you manage to play a unique unit. This is a thing where if this is allowed to stick, and you have a force token available to you on the next turn, this becomes a 4/6 that's shielded. Again, it's action slow, but shield it, now attack with it. It's a force unit. I gain my force token back. I play another unique unit, which there are a lot of in this set. I add another shield token. I add another experience. I'm a 5/7. And, people are going to have to start attacking into a bigger and bigger and bigger unit. So this is also kind of a lightning rod. I like units on my board, even if sometimes they're a little bit weirdly statted, if they are lightning rods, if there's something that my opponent will have to deal with, rather than something that like, it's a 3. I'm not gonna go after that. I'm gonna wait for your bigger thing. If you ignore this guy, he becomes the bigger thing. So Luke Skywalker at number 7. Number 6, Deathfield. Deal 2 damage to each non-vehicle unit. And if you control a force unit, draw a card. I'm really only using this where I have force units and decks where I have force units. There are some places where you can get pretty vehicle heavy, and it becomes a little bit less powerful there. But we've also seen several decks that are starting to use space whales. I don't know why we chose to have space whales, but here we are. Those are not vehicle units, and so this can stretch to both arenas in limited cases, but it also is a wide hit. For 4, 2 damage to a single unit sucks. For 4, 2 damage to the board is pretty good. 2 damage to the board that replaces itself, much better. So Deathfield at number 6. Number 5, Trust Your Instincts. Use the force. Here we're using that mechanic again. If you do attack with a unit, and this becomes a shoot first. And so this is a +2/+0, shoot first, use the force for 1. And yeah, I'm here for it. Trust Your Instincts, number 5. No heroism, villainy side on this. So this is This again becomes several things. This is a good replacement for a card that we have been using in several sets. Not in every single deck. We're not, I'm not always using shoot first, but this allows me to use the force token and use it well, which is something that a lot of these decks need to try to figure out ways to continue to utilize that token. And so it does a lot of things that are very helpful and does them in a very efficient way that keeps my units on the board for a very minimal cost. I like it. If we're attacking with a force unit, we get our force token right back. Yeah, this is a good one. Number 4, Vernestra Row. Land-based Falcon that doesn't have attacks. Yeah, I have to lose my force token, but I ready the unit when played. And yep, I'm here for that. She's understated as far as she doesn't have a 5 by her name and health, but 3 cost that is able to come in and start churning damage in that 3 turn rather than having to wait. Quite nice, especially with the volume of 2 cost force units that are going to be very difficult to remove. If you attack with your force unit first, you gain your force token, or if you generate your force token somehow otherwise, you plop her down, you ready her, you attack, you gain your force token back because she is a force unit as long as you have the bases. This is a good one. And Vernestra Row drops in at number 4. Number 3, Yaddle. A little smaller, but I really do like, in some cases, these 2 cost units, especially if they do something powerful. 6 stats is a nice mark here. One of the things that made R2 so impactful in the early sets is that he had a 1/4. He had a bigger number behind him with that 4 than most people could deal with. To get Yaddle off the board turn 1 is going to take a lot of work. To get him off the board later, not so much. But if he manages to swing an attack, then he gives all other Jedi units restore 1 for the phase. That can be very impactful, especially in a late game situation if you're playing heavy in your Jedi. But it also means that, this is another lightning rod. Somebody might have to swing into one of my 2s before I can gain restore 1 across the board in order to, and allow me to take that next action. So Yaddle's got a lot of utility. I like him, especially as a turn 1 play in a lot of cases. This is number 3 for me. Number 2, and I think this is probably going to be one of the most played cards in Heroism, Eath Koth. He is the Heroism version of with a little bit of restriction. He is the Heroism version of a Super Laser Technician. He does not come down ready, but he comes with a huge improvement in his stats. A 5/4 is a major change from dealing with a 2/1. And he has a lot of those important traits on him. He can generate his own token and then be defeated. So he has the ability to come down, generate the token that you're going to need, be defeated in an attack where he deals 5 damage, and then turn around and use that force token to put him down as a resource. Big powerful card. Easily could have been number 1. I've got him at number 2, but here we go. The reason why the Sun beats him for this number 1 spot. Okay, yes, he's 7 cost, and at 7 cost, we like to have something that impacts the board. We have a lot of force. We have a lot of ways to get the token. As long as we have that token, each other friendly unit going +2/+0 is huge. And a 6/8 body on this guy is a nice piece at 7. He is not going to take out Kelleran Beck, but he's also not going to be defeated by him. And so we're in a position where this guy is a very good, very powerful unit later in the game in a spot where he is able to make your entire board more powerful. I said earlier, I like lightning rods. A 6/8 lightning rod is a hard one to get around. you'd have to either hard remove him or spend a lot of energy attacking him. Uh, and until you can get him off the board, every friendly force, every friendly unit, not every friendly force unit, but every friendly unit gets +2/+0. Uh, you know, this is big. This is not raid. This is not dependent on you attacking. This is just +2. And so he does have a clear impact. He does have a clear way to make the board change at that 7 cost. The sun falls in for me at number 1. So that's the top 10 with some honorable mentions. Looking forward to the set kind of coming out and playing with them and play testing. After some play testing, I bet we'll come back and review some of these and have some different answers. But for now, this is where we're sitting. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and put things in the comments. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear what your opinions and thoughts are on these cards and on what's in your top 10. So, till next time, thanks so much for watching and take care.